Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of my new podcast. I'm coming back to recording podcasts, I think, after 1 or 2 years. But this time I will purely focus on talking with either founders associates or chief of staff in early stage startups and in technology companies in general. So today our first guest is Natalia Stefańska.
Okay, hello everybody, I'm Natalia. I'm a founder associate at Pergamin, Polish legal tech startup, and I'm a founder associate since like 8 months ago, something like that, briefly.
Okay. On LinkedIn, I'm still it's actually 11 months, but I think
Ah,
you said,
sorry.
but it's okay. It's okay.
Time is flying.
Yeah. I know how it can be. Okay, so maybe you can tell me a little bit about how you end up at being founders associate at Pergamin. What was your previous experience and how you landed this role?
Okay, so how to say it briefly. When I studied biotechnology, I started two startups that wasn't very successful in the biotechnology field. So I have very little experience with leading the startups. In one, I was the chief of sales, almost like the vice chief of sales, and we sold craft beer, like 100 hectoliters of craft beer. So it was quite a lot, but it was quite successful. But we finished our experience because my colleagues just didn't want to continue it. But I felt like the startups is the way to go, and I fell in love with startups, especially in technology. Even though I'm not a technician, I really love technology, AI, vibe coding, like everybody else in B2B SaaS. So I felt like it was the way to go, and the timing was perfect because even though I have a low experience, I chose to join MD Fellowship mentoring, and my mentor Bartosz Majewski said mm, told me more about being a founder associate, and my skills aligned with this path. So I chose to, you know, drop everything. I almost dropped the last year in my studies and go to Warsaw to enjoy my dreams. And oh well, I'm here in Warsaw as a founder associate. I'm pretty happy with the choices I made. So yeah, like it was like that.
Okay. And when you were talking with Bartek and you said that the skills were aligned with your experience and probably what you wanted to do, and what the skills were.
You know, I organize a lot of events and help to organize a lot of events. So I have experience with, organizing things. It was a pretty helpful skill. Also, I really love learning as I go. Like a lot, I really like to read and learn a lot. So, like the skill to teach yourself a lot of stuff at once and unlearn stuff you teach yourself once is a very, very, very important skill to have, especially in this job, because you need to learn as you go, like this, especially in technology startups, because the amount of data you have is like overwhelming. So you need to teach yourself as you go. So I have these skills. Also, I have good skills working with people, and I think communication, and I'm just teaching myself and learning as I go, also with communication and working with people and organizing work with my small teams. Also, I have experience in sales and go to market, because when you sell craft beer, the you need to sell to a lot of different people and a lot of different companies. So when I sell the craft beer, I learned the whole process myself, and I needed to think about the process. I needed to like found it. Like I haven't have a blueprint to do things as you should do things. I haven't had instructions. I need to learn as I go again, but in sales. So also I have a little experience now, a little more, but back then I have a little experience with design and designing like landing pages and apps and really simple programs because I needed a hustle to make money because the craft beer is not it wasn't really successful after all for me. It was from our investor. It was a very successful startup for our investor, not for me. So I have a lot of things going on at the same time, and I think that these skills and these dots just connected in this one place, and that's why the timing was perfect for me. And as I chat with others, founder associates and chief of staffs, I heard that it's common that you have a lot of different dots, a lot of different skills, and they just connect in in one place, in one timing, and just.
Okay, thanks. So, would you say actually that like the best founders associates or people who want to apply this position should actually not have like really deep experience in like one domain, rather there should be like a generalist and have a little different small experiences from different domains?
It's really depends on the startup you are going into because some startups will require from you a lot of seniority in some aspects, like being a very technician, very senior in, I don't know, software engineering. But in my case, uh, a lot of shallow, as I said, experience worked the best for me because I think, from my perspective, being a chief of staff and being founder associate is being a generalist after all. Like you can have experience in some fields, but you need to be good at at different fields also at the same time. It's not like you are going to be one person and the one expert from this stuff only. You need to have a skills to manage a lot of stuff going on around you at the same time. So yeah, being a generalist in this economy and in this era is a way to go. Like you need to be, I think, in my opinion.
Okay. And as you said, like this job touches a lot of different things, a lot of different areas. It's not like that you are devoted to one domain. So maybe can you brought up like how your, I don't know, example day looks like, or like a week, and like for example, what were you doing recently? Let's say on Friday, what were your priorities or like tasks you were managing?
It depends on the month, I guess, because for the first 3 or 4 months, I got the onboarding, let's say that, because I didn't have an onboarding. Like, I think this job shouldn't have an onboarding because, like, what are you going to teach? Like, going inside the head of the founder? I don't think it's like that. Yeah, I was um, getting used to the way the startup works and the way people manage to work in here and how and what is the way for the startup to grow, like what is the strategy, what is the way we talk to people, how we talk to people, what we are doing, what we are prioritize, what are the most valuable clients for ICP, and such and such. So for the first 3 months, I get to go with with the founders on the meetings, like on the prospect meeting, like on the demo meetings, like on the partnership meetings, and such and such. And I spent a lot of time in the different um, part of our company, like with the product team. It's not IT, it's product team, with the customer success team, with the sales team, little by little, and I get to get to know how they work, how they works, what they are focusing on, what are current problems, how they are operating, because I needed an insight how are you go how things works, so I can see and maybe recommend how they could be better. Because when you are founder associate and you are working close to your founders, you know they're operating in the same startup like for 7 years or for the few years, so they are building the stuff as they go. But when you are going from the street, let's say it like in Polish, it sounds better in my opinion, but okay.
I agree. But I think our English speakers would
Okay.
understand what it mean from the street. Let's
So
hope.
so when you are not into it inside, it's like from the head to toe, from the toe to head, sorry, you can see the problems or the things that are on fire right now, or how we can do small changes so it will be more smooth and such and such. So yeah, first 3 or 4 months was like that, and I get a lot of insights from the company and from my founders, especially how I should work with them day to day, because I work in our office day to day. We have a chance to work remotely, but from our case, it was the most efficient for me to understand how I should work by being in the office day to day. And so right now, I'm enjoying it. For the first time, it was like, oh my god, 9 to 5 and such and such. I need to go to office every day and such and such. But now I think it's very relaxing to be in the office, especially because we have a beautiful office. But my day my day now looks like hmm. Right now I am more focused on working with our CRO, Antek, who is like in the charge of our sales, of our revenue, and such and such. And we are building the two of us, the SDR AI assistant workflow based on cloud to manage the outreach we are doing, because uh, I wanted to say a Polish word. Our founders in the past, they used sometimes agencies or freelancers to make outreach and outbound because it was more efficient for them by that. But now we have a three people sales team, so we need to work with it on ourselves, and we want to make the most efficient workflow for it. Yeah, and like my day now looks like I am vibe coding the SDR workflow. Then I'm sending a lot of emails and LinkedIn DMs from I can't say that, but I am sending a lot of DMs on on the LinkedIn profile to our ICP. I am look by our with the help of our workflow. Yeah, and I am hmm, yeah, mostly that for now. Like
Okay.
this is our focus in the past few weeks, to manage the sales, to make it more efficient, and to work with it the best we can, the best as we can, because we want to populate it later. Yeah.
Okay. I was actually thinking recent week, right now with all of this hype on cloud agents, automations, scraping LinkedIn and etc. because I'm doing it also by myself right now. And I think actually that like the founders associate, chief of staff, or like this more operations heavy roles actually could be the first ones that soon they will need the skills such as like building agents, being very proficient with cloud, vibe coding, because at the end, I think the biggest profit for the company is to optimize all of these operations, and like sales one-to-one, it's something really time consuming. So
Yes.
even seeing on my own example that I also developed recently some personalize agent with Claude to outreach people. Of course, at the end, I have my manual input if I like the message or not, and if I like the copy that it wrote based on like scraping the last LinkedIn post, so like connections, so like website. Yeah, but I think that soon maybe even it will be like a super valuable skill to have like as founders associate, and for example when you want to apply for like chief of staff and like another positions. What do you think?
I think it will be necessary, not viable. It will be necessary because the the whole point of your role as a founder associate is to take off the workload of the founders that they have, and they have always a lot of workload. Like they can work like non-stop for a few days, and there will be a lot of more work to do like later. Like there is a lot of work all the time for them. So as a founder associate, you are the person that should take off this workload, and if you can and if you have a skill, may optimize the space around this all work to be more efficient and more optimized. To make
Hmm.
less workload than more workload.
Okay, and do you have any other examples of some recent job beside this, for example, SDR that you were also optimizing?
I sometimes ago, like a few weeks ago, I made an app for making a report for our USA investors, because at this point of the startup, our founders need to make regular meetings and report, of course, for our investors, and they have very specific way they look and they are built, and they scrap a lot of data from different fields of our different parts of our startup. So it always was a very time consuming thing you need to do. It was hard to align at the same time with the lot of people in the company we have in the startup. It was a lot of struggle to make in the end, to make this report and to align the numbers and such and such. But it was very, very important to have this report at the end of the month, like every month. So I made a report app to like collect that data from all of the people and align it in the one form document. Yes, and I connected to the Slack, I connected to our few things. So, and I connected to Claude, so Claude can transcribe it.
Transcribe.
Transcribe. Thank you very much. Transcribe it as you go, as you write stuff. So it was a lot of, a lot easier to collect data, because the founders and few people for our company could just, tag to your Claude or tag to the interface I made and just say things they want to say as they say it, like in the normal people language, not in the high level efficient TLDR investor language in USA, because Cloud make the translation. So it's like from few hours or few, like from 8 to even 12 hours of the work. It took like 2 or 3 to make a report now. So yeah, that was the thing I vibe coded a few weeks ago. Also as a part of my job as a founder associate.
Okay. And do you have any other tools beside Claude that you are using in your work every day?
Do you mean the AI assistant or chats?
Yeah, like any like this AI no code tools that help you with your work to either more automated or like that your work is more efficient.
For now, I have Codex, but Codex is more as a quality assurance of my workflow that I am building still in Cloud Code. About I use it for outreach. And when I used all of my AI tokens in cloud, I use Codex to like get the things done at the end of the day. Because if I have a very busy day, I have to do a lot of docs and no, I don't know, outreach and emails to for partnerships and such. I use all of my tokens at the end of the day, and the work doesn't stop at the uh, 5 p.m. So you need to do you need to work, but you don't have tokens. So I have also Codex. Yeah, I think that's all I have. It's enough for me.
Okay. And regarding the working hours, I know also, even from my own experience and being in the ecosystem for some years, of course, it depends on the startup, but sometimes the working hours could be brutal and longer than typical 9 to 5.
Yes.
So, how is it in your case? Is it always that you are staying up until 8, 9, 11, or there are weeks that it's like the work is more loose, or like it really fluctuates, for example, from month to month, because I know you have sensitive period, because you have a lot of new clients, or that maybe you are raising new round, or you talk with investors, etc., etc.
You know, Pergamin doesn't have to talk with new investors and doesn't have to collect another seed because we are on the path to profitability. So this is not our case, but the way that our funders manage the startup is like most people work 9 to 5, like their hours that are also our working hours for our ICP and clients. So we need to be able to work in such hours. But if I have a task that is very important or very urgent because it's a task for our client, like or our very hot ICP future client that we want, I will just, stay after the 5 p.m. and work. Or I work in the weekends. That's all. That's fine for me. And I worked few times, not very much till this time of the year, but it happens few times. You know, it really depends of the startup. What are working hours for your clients? Who are you selling to? What are the founders' vibe of leading the startup and such and such? In our case, we are selling to enterprises, so the mostly Polish enterprises. So the working hours are just normal working hours. So the most of our work is done in 9 to 5. But
Okay.
it's very elastic, and
And
and I really like that. That is very elastic.
and what would you say, Natalia, is the hardest part of your job?
Hmm. Getting into the head of our funders and knowing before they are saying something. I think this is the most hard part, to know what is to do before they are asking me to what to do. Because the rest is like, I really like learning as I go. So learning new stuff, learning new AI, learning new way to do something is pretty easy. Like I can just sit it with it, teach myself, and I will know how to do it. That's fine. But there is a one skill that is very valuable. I think I said correctly. From my perspective, as I'm working with funders, that I don't hear about often. And it's like knowing what you have to do and just do it before someone asks you to do it. Like you see that there is something that you could do to make everyone life easier on, or I don't know, making another step to make your future client like you better, or get your future client more value, or do something like, I don't know, benchmarks or some data analysis for the SDR outreach input for for your prospects. Like, just being creative to know how to spice something a little to have a better output. I, w-
Okay.
I would say it like that. I think you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, naturally. But also, I have already a follow-up question to this. So,
Mhm.
like, what's your solution or advice to other founders associate or people who might struggle with this? Like, what's your approach? How to actually be this one step ahead and like knowing by yourself what should be done?
Yeah, and this is something that will be contrary to what I said earlier. After a few months, you get into the startup and you get to the startup like from toes to head, like the founders. You will see the way they are operating and the things they do that no one is doing except them, and just getting the idea that when they are do such a thing differently, and this differently made thing get results that founders want, because I don't know, we get with this different approach we get a few clients, like nobody would expect it to that you can sell something like this, or that you can make posts like this, or you can make a marketing strategy like this, or make a feature in your platform like this, and it will um, inbound few new clients, or make a newsletter like this, or something and something, like the creative ways to get results. But after you are sitting with it and um, getting the idea from the environment you are working, when you are creative and when you sleep few nights with a good rest, you are more creative. Sometimes the idea will come to you. I don't have the one blueprint, because I am learning as I go myself. I found out that when I try to see these little things and write it down in my idea Notion page, I can use it. I can use it sometime later when I have like a little time to spare to work, or when I am doing another campaign to our go-to market, and the last campaign wasn't very successful. So now I can spice it up a little, try a little experiments. I think making a lot of experiments as you go is a good solution to that, because as you make a lot of new experiments in the field that is very repeatable, is that the word?
Hmm.
Repeatable, you will see different results, and you can manage to get results yourself. You don't have to copy what founders did. You can get new ways by yourself, and I think this is very valuable. Also, I read a lot. Like, I read newsletters, I read books, I read articles, I read news, but a little. I don't read a lot of news because I don't see a lot of value in it. Except AI, because AI is pretty hot right now and it can be very useful to you as a founder associate. Also, I have a scheduled task in my cloud code that just scrap that is our AI agents scrap a lot of articles from 38 hours ago and just aligned with my interests, and send me on my Slack 2 articles I should read and why. So I have, like three person that said, "Hey, it's available. Look at this. Read it." So yeah, I read a lot, and then I try a lot, doing a lot of little experiments in my processes, and see the best results. And then I think and analyze, okay, why it works. And then when I have the report, the analyze, I go to my founders and say, "Hey, I have a report, I did this is the results, and maybe it will be viable to go with it in our organization or in our process or in our something. So yeah, I do it like that a little.
Okay. So, would you say also that because you said at the beginning that you had this big onboarding for like 3 or 4 months, that you went with a lot of meetings with founders, you like probably went on a lot of weekly meetings with like different teams and people from different areas.
Yes.
So would you say also that actually this skill about like knowing what to do before somebody asks you to do, or like predict what founder would like to do, is
Yeah.
probably just more experience and like learning how the team operates? Like you also see better like what are the, I don't know, mental models of founders, how they take decision, and it just naturally comes to you the longer you work in this place.
Yeah, I think you have a good point. I haven't thought about it like that, but you have a good point. Yeah, because that's why I said, yeah, to be clear, I haven't had onboarding like in the onboarding meeting. I was just, I just came and I started working because I have to work. Like on my first day, my CEO wasn't in the office, and I have to support our marketing team at that time because they have a lot of work to do. So in few hours, I needed to, make some tasks I haven't done in my life before, and I just go with it and make stuff to help other people in our company to make, better results. So I haven't had onboarding. The 3 or 4 months I had were, and I have meetings in our founders and our team was just because I needed to gain experience as fast as possible to really help the company, to make value and to get value and to bring value to the company.
Okay. Natalia, what do you like the most about being a founder's associate in startup?
That I don't have to do the same work every day. Like every day is different. Like every day happens something different, or I need a different skill, or I need to get creative in different way. Also, I really love business. I really love sales, and I really love technology. So, like the company industry areas are for me just chef keys. But being the founder associate in such a place with very positive and good people is just very satisfying for me, because I tried to be in the normal job, 9 to 5 doing the same thing every day, but I just couldn't. Like, I wasn't using my brain. Like, first few days was fun, and then I felt like I wasn't using my brain. I wasn't creative. I wasn't doing anything viable, anything new. It was just very repetitive, thank-
Repetitive work.
repetitive. Thank you very much. Every day. So no, like the thing that as a founder associate you are doing new things and you're learning new things as you go. Like in a few weeks, you can learn vibe coding from zero because you have to. It's just great. I really love it.
Why do you love vibe coding?
Because from my perspective, I really love just doing things and building things. When I was little, I paint and draw a lot, because so I was doing a lot of things manually, and now I can build apps that are working in real life. So it's very satisfying to build something, in my opinion. So I love it. Also, when you can make a workflow, so you build a few skills, few pieces, in the whole process. And after all this work, you click, run, and it's just working by itself. Oh, it's very satisfying. It's wow. It's wow. So yeah, I love it also. And my current role is making it possible for me to learn it, to have resources to learn it. Also, I really love business, so I am in the deep of managing the startup and the business, so I also love it. And I don't do the same thing every day, so it's everything is new and everything is satisfying. Also, it's hard. Of course, it's hard. Sometimes you're very tired. Sometimes the communication is not aligned. There are different situations because everybody is just a person. But after all, very satisfying job in my opinion.
Okay. And because I think that in this role, there are a lot of times that you need to take a decision by yourself with like limited knowledge you have. And I assume it's not like that with every decision you come to like right now you're CEO, but maybe further people to founder. So like, do you have any like approach or mental model when you know that you can take the decision by yourself, or where something need the input of COO, for example, from his side?
Uh, it's a very bold statement in my opinion because as a founder associate, as I was talking with my CEO, it's a
Junior?
junior. Thank you. It's a junior position, so founder associate doesn't make a lot of decisions by themselves. And from my experience, I make few decisions that are not very strategic,
Mm-hmm.
if you say so. And I made it like in the recent times. So after I gained experience, after I gained some hard conversations with my CEO. So it's not like you are going to be a founder associate and from day one you are going to make a lot of strategic decisions that they are I don't know how to say it, that they are going to be very important and dangerous for the company. Let's say it like this. So chill a little. Also, I had a lot of aligned sessions with my CEO, and he teaches me how to think a little. Let's say it like that, because I didn't have experience in legal tech and in Polish regulations. Our CEO is mm, attorney.
Attorney, yeah.
I think it's attorney in English. Sorry if I make a mistake.
It's okay. We
But
will auto dub it with 11 Labs English voice clone of you.
nice. Oh, I love it. Chef kiss. By his experience, so he's very fluent in all of that, in all of these decisions, and the way you speak to the clients and the pain points they have, and such and such. And I had sessions with him, like he would ask me what would I recommend, what did I think about something, and such. And as the time goes and my experience mm, was bigger, let's say it like that, I managed to understand the way we speak about some features, so pain points and such, and I could make uh, less important decisions by myself or by just sending it to my CEO in the already form, and he would just make few comments or not and just accept it, and I would send it away to the client or partnership and such and such.
Okay. So also your CEO gives also you a lot of like feedback. Would you say that
Yes,
also like you have
yes.
some personal growth line allied, that it's not just that you are coming to the job doing your tasks, but you also feel that you are getting some like leadership and kind of like mentoring from these people?
Yeah, I think we can say it like this because I had a lot of now. recently I don't have a lot of sessions with my CEO because we are aligned most of the time. So if we have a big task I am going to do and it's pretty important, we would align with this task like once in the 2 or 3 days and talk about it, talk about perspective and such and such. And he would give me a lot of feedback. But back in the days, we would had just meetings like half an hour on 1 hour meetings with planning our sprint because we work in sprints, and we would plan a sprint and then align our perspective, what is going to be done, definition of done, and such and such. And after I did a task that I had in my backlog, he would give me a lot of feedback, and I would, correct it, and a lot of feedback again, and correct it, and it was the loop. And there was a lot of loops from the day one. There was a lot of loops, and now I am in at this point. We don't have a lot of loops. Like if I do something, he would give me some comments, but it's not like never-ending loop, feedback loophole. Like no, so we are more aligned. That's what I'm trying to say. So
And
yeah,
after how many months you think you got aligned?
7 or 8, something like that.
Okay. So
Like
long process, would you say, or not?
if you think about it, I think it was efficient process because
Okay.
because I don't know if you have benchmarks, like the pretty normal benchmark for onboarding of your new employee in normal company or like in the enterprise. It's like 6-7 months,
Okay.
and it's a normal timeline. But you are in the position like founder associate that you don't have onboarding package, onboarding resources. You are just throwing in the middle of the startup and you are just working.
Yeah,
So yeah,
because usually the founder's associate is the person that's like stabilizing the company, the operations, maybe like writes the processes, so like the company runs smooth. So like if you are coming to fill this role, basically from default there was nobody before to do this. So
yes. We in Pergamin there wasn't any person like me before. So everything I'm going to do is like my first time and the company's first time. So I need to write down everything so they have resources and that will be valuable to them or for future people or future employees also.
okay, so like what is like the perfect state of a startup or a company that you think they need to hire or like think of hiring founders associate or like chief of staff?
Again, it depends, as
As
everything.
always in the startup world, and I know. And in the
Yeah,
legal tech, it depends. It depends.
yes. Everything depends on what you are trying to achieve. Like from my perspective, waiting 7 years to have founder associate is too long. But I will use words from my mentor that he said on one of our fireside chats. If you are a founder that sales, because founders should sell from the beginning of a startup. If you are a founder who sells and you are selling and have 30 more customers and you are making a lot of meetings every week, I think it's the time to hire an assistant or founder associate. Why? Because the workload is huge, enormous, and you need a lot of time and space to have time for clients and meetings and implementing stuff and such and such. So I think that the first or second person you should hire should be an assistant or founder associate to get a lot of workload from the founder.
Okay. And is
Yes.
there any difference between like executive assistant and founder's associate in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there is, because an assistant is just, the person helping founder, like, I don't know, making calls, making emails, um managing his calendar and such and such. But the founder associate is more like, you have a more workload than just an assistant, because you need to like do stuff like someone wouldn't do. I don't know, vibe coding, optimizing processes, making new processes, writing down processes. These things wouldn't do just normal assistant, because they wouldn't have skills or mm, or vibe to do it. Let's say vibe. Yes, I
But what
think
what do you mean by vibe?
like they wouldn't want to do it, because they would just sit like in his or her little space and little workload that they have to do and have skills to do. I wouldn't want to do more stuff than that, or learn to manage a company, manage a startup, or make decisions. They should make decisions or align with founders.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
more like about like this proactive mindset, and as you said, like spotting what could be done without anybody telling you that specific thing need to be done.
Yeah, I think you can say it like that from my
Okay,
perspective, my opinion. Because managing your founder's calendar, is too little to make value in your company and bring value to your company.
okay. Um, and do you maybe have any tip for like a person that's thinking of like joining one of the startups as like founders associate? Like if you would, for example, apply one more time right now with the knowledge you have right now, like what would you do? Like what channel? Would you just write like some cold message on LinkedIn? Would you write some email? Would you try to go to like maybe some conference and meet this founder in person? Like what would be your tactic to get a job?
Everything you said, that's for sure. But let's start from the start. Let's start from the start. The first thing I would make a list of new startups, or very hot topic startups, or just startups that would align with something I want to do, like uh, be, being in the startup that is B2B, or technology startup, or based in Poland startup, or based in the San Francisco. It doesn't have to be in Poland, and such and such. I would make a list that the things I want to do and the things that the startup has to have. So I would be very satisfied to work in it. Then I would make a huge list, like the 100, 200 startups and companies that would be aligned with these lists. Like I don't know, the amount of people they have shouldn't be more than 30, for example, or it should have be more than 30. Like, it depends what do you want and what you are trying to achieve, or in work, in which company and environment you want to work in. Yeah, later I would get obsessed with few startups I would choose that would be the best fitted with my list. I would learn everything about the startup, like who is in it, what they are doing, how they are doing, and such and such. I would read all articles about the startup, about founders. I would be a pretty bad stalker. Then I would start to check if I have someone in my network or connections that will get me warm intro to them or coffee chat with them. If I don't have, I would probably check if they are trying to hire founder associate. If not, I would go to the conference. I would probably cold email them with Luma and with, of course, CV that is aligned to their position if they have position. If not, I would just send Luma, send LinkedIn DMs, and I would, of course, comment their posts, comment posts in their on this official page of the startup. I would try to get the coffee chat with them. I would try to meet them at the conference. It sounds very obsessed, but I think that's the point. If you are trying to, go to the startup, you don't have like warm intro into it. And if you are very proactive and very obsessed and you wouldn't scare away the founders, I think you can get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we will be wrapping up. Thanks for answering all the question.
Yes.
From watching a lot of podcasts, in one of them I saw some idea that I really liked. I think it was in the Diary of the CEO from Steven, that at the end he asked his guests, like, what is the one question you want to ask the next person that will be sitting in your position? So basically my next guest on the podcast. So what is like the one question you would like to ask my next podcast guest? Of course, it will be like either founders associate, chief of staff, or maybe founder, but probably founders associate or chief of staff. Maybe something you are struggling right now in your areas or like responsibilities, and you would like to hear some tip how other person is doing it.
I would want to ask them what trait or like trait or character someone needs to have so that they I would ask them what trait you can't have to survive in this role without, something that you need to have to be founder associate, because I talked with few founder associate and chief of staff before, and we have the vibe. Like we are pretty much like, wow, nice vibe. Like we like each other. Like we feel it. So I am very interested. Like what trait you can't have to be founder associate. Like you wouldn't survive as a founder associate or chief of staff. So that's something interesting for me.
Okay. So thank you very much, Natalia. Thanks everybody for tuning in today, and see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye bye.